Burglars of Reddit, what are the best ways to keep you out of my house? When we moved my sister to an apartment years ago, the landlord was out while we were sitting on a moving van full of stuff. Friendly neighbor walked by, saw us and offered to let us in. He took a thin flathead screwdriver and in the kitchen window used it to pry open the flimsy turn lock, climb in and unlock the house. He then told her to put a nail through the window to seal it against burglars, since the units all came with AC anyways. So, good guy burglar, I guess. Reminds me of the car thief I hired to break into my rental car when I left my keys in the car. Saw a group of sketchy looking guys sitting around smoking a joint and offered a guy $10 if he could get the door open without breaking anything. Took him about 10 seconds. Well spent $10. Lock your deadbolts. Can't tell you how easy it is to card a boot with the deadbolt unlocked. Might as well leave the door open. Yes, the knob just keeps the wind from opening the door. The deadbolt keeps people from opening the door. I forget the name, but they had two ex-cons rob someone's house and then give that person tips on how they could be better protected. One time they had a cop volunteer to be robbed and he was shocked how easily the robbers stole his stuff. I believe it was called It Takes a Thief. I once was visiting a female friend of mine who lived in a bit of a crappy neighborhood. At the time I was working construction and swung by after work. I got to the house and took my size 12 work boots off and left them on the front porch. I tend to carry a pair of flip-flops in my bag and changed into those. Then we hit a patio for some sunshine beers. I ended up forgetting my boots at her place and was in no rush to get them back as I had another pair. Now I do not know how true this is, but she swears that having a pair of big work boots right by her front door made her safer. I had pretty much forgotten about them as they were on their way out, but she left them right where they were. She had less craziness happen in her front yard, less strangers knocking on her door, and she was not broken into again at that place. Of course, it could have been the smell. What about moats? Why is nobody mentioning moats? Don't post on Facebook that you are not home and how long you will be out. To elaborate on this, don't post vacation photos to social media until you are back home. I spent 1.5 years in prison after being convicted of multiple residential burglaries. I was caught after a mailman called 911 after seeing me go through a window. I had a pretty good run of burglaries from 2007 to 2008 and haven't done any in 7 years. So technology and times have changed since my spree. Here's how I picked my houses. 1. I would generally only go in the daytime during the week. The idea was for the adults to be at work and the kids at school. 2. I would try to find a corner house because it would have, at least, one side with no neighbors. 3. I went in middle class neighborhoods close to a community college. I live in a large US city and needed an excuse to be in my late 20s walking around with a backpack. I would stand out too much in wealthy neighborhoods, and poorer neighborhoods often have bars on windows because they expect to be robbed. Middle class people seem to be careless. I often went in through an unlocked back door. Interestingly enough, I never went through a front door. I would always go to the back or side because any fences would provide coverage. 4. People think a large dog would be a good deterrent, but I generally avoided those annoying small yapping dogs that never shut up. 5. I often went through a bedroom window, whether it was unlocked or not. I'm committing a major felony. I didn't care about a broken window. 6. I usually went straight to the master bedroom because that's where the good stuff was. Things a homeowner can do, besides armed guards around the clock. 1. Get a dog that doesn't like strangers. I don't care if it's big or small or threatening or friendly. As soon as one dog barks, the whole neighborhood starts barking and announcing a burglar's presence. 2. Cameras, inside and out. I knew a guy who was caught because he walked by someone's webcam inside their house and ended up on the news. Make the cameras visible. If I see a camera, I'm not just moving on to the next house, but I'm going several streets away. 3. Lock back fence and restrict access to backyard. That's generally where I broke into the house from. 4. Beware of dog and security alarm signs and stickers are completely worthless. I once broke into a house through a doggy door. There was no dog home. 5. Try not to have any stools or anything in the backyard. They make climbing through windows easier. Life pro tip: if you're a burglar, talk to children. They'll tell you everything. Example: The other day we were at the store with my 5-year-old. A random woman smiles at her and says, "Hi, aren't you pretty? What's your name?" My daughter then proceeds to rattle off her full name, first, middle and last, her mommy and daddy's name, what city she lives in, the fact that her older sister just got a new TV and a Nintendo Wii U, and that she's so excited because we're all going to be taking a trip to visit our family in California next month, all in the space of about 30 seconds. She just had so much crap she was excited to share with her new friend she couldn't stop talking. Maybe she secretly hates all of you and knew exactly what she was doing. Serious answer. I did some thefting in my youth. I'll leave that at that. Keep in mind I was no mastermind. When picking a house, besides the obvious answers like a full mailbox and newspapers scattered about, I often picked houses by the stupid tricks people use when they go out of town. Leave the radio on. Leave the TV, leave the lights on, etc. Tons of lights on, and an obnoxiously loud TV on in the living room at 2 AM on a Sunday night in an upper middle class neighborhood lol. When I found a potential house, I'd obnoxiously ring the doorbell, then run away and watch for activity. After that, if I felt comfortable, I'd try to gain entry. If it was too hard, every time I broke open a window or door, I would run away again for a half hour or so and watch for activity, even if I had to do it in multiple steps. For example, break the window by the door, then run away and wait, come back and ajar the door, then run away again. I did this because of an irrational fear of silent alarms. Obviously, if I saw any kind of activity or set off an active alarm, I would leave. So you want to keep me out your house? Don't appear as a target. Full mailbox. Obstructed view of the house from streets. Don't make it easy for me. Have lots of deadbolts, active alarms, motion lights, dogs, etc. I wouldn't frick with any of that crap. If I do get in your house, don't keep small valuables all about. I often did all my work on foot and stole money, jewelry, small electronics, etc. Have a safe basically. Hope that helps. I'm reformed now, but you can still judge. Naked grandma. You're supposed to make your house less enticing. Place a sticker in the window that reads, "Premises protected by Radio Shack." That sign really says that you have nothing worth stealing. If anybody tried to steal my 8-track player, I would try and knock them out with my VCR. And if that didn't work, I would throw my Walkman at them. Seen a couple of these supposed experts saying your dog is useless. Bulls. If you have a little yappy dog, that makes sense. My home was broken into several years ago during the middle of the day. I had a lab GSD mix. Like a lot of people would say, nicest dog ever, would probably kiss you to death, blah blah blah. I got a call from the cops because someone driving by called the police after seeing a bloody man in a ripped shirt running away from our front door. When I got home, my front door area just inside the house had what looked like a little dried blood on the floor and door. The police said when they arrived the dog was just lying there staring at the door. The police said he barked as they arrived but quickly and easily calmed down. Nothing was taken and only a small table by the door where we put our keys and stuff was knocked over. Long story short, guy brought himself to the hospital and the cops picked him up as he was leaving. We didn't press charges for breaking in or anything, just let the police handle it and never actually saw the guy, but the police officer told us his cheek was totally torn from the side of his mouth toward his jawline. We figured Pickles did enough justice and our lives would be easier to just move on. If you hear me rattling around your house, you should hide in a closet and jump out to scare me, rather than shoot you. I would run like a baby that can run. I would run like a baby that can run. I imagine you waddling away for a few steps before you fall and bash your head on the coffee table. My neighborhood is number 1 in the state for break-ins. Have been broken into twice as a teenager and recently bought my own home, so it's on my mind a lot. I often leave a light on near the back of the house so it can still be seen from the front, but the room can't be seen from outside. I figure this could be a deterrent to any crooks looking for a late night steal. They'll just go to the next house with no lights on. Other than that, I have a safe and don't keep any real valuables in the house that aren't in the safe. My most expensive things are the biggest and hardest to steal. A comment said to make sure your safe is bolted to the ground because burglars will gladly snatch up safes to take home and work on opening on their own time. to the legitimate burglars in here. I feel like I need to tell you something. My brother and one of my friends, completely independently of each other, have almost a fantasy about shooting a burglar. They both have this romantic visualization of them being the good guy hero and burglars being the perfect example of a bad guy that is coming into their house to kill their family. They daydream and plan for this scenario. My brother even has his alarm siren turned off when he's home so it only rings his phone and won't scare an intruder away, like he's hunting or something. I just want you to know that these people are out there. If you break into their house, you are getting shot by a guy with a raging hero boner. And I frequently hear the same thing. Shoot to kill, because if you don't, they'll sue you. It's not worth it. Stay out of other people's houses. 3 words. Rooftop Korean snipers. Save your money. Rooftop Koreans should be enough. Just imagine someone's trying to break into your house, and they look up to see a bunch of Koreans looking at him like you better leave. Frick you guy. Cover everything in mayonnaise. I mean everything, the bed, the surfaces, the dog, yourself, everything. Burglars hate mayonnaise. Nice try, mayonnaise loving home invader. Shotgun tripwire trap on every entrance. If you have a repair skill of 45, you should be fine. Keep your windows open. Burglars are extremely superstitious and believe that an open window is a sign of bad omen. I am sorry, but I have a Mac. Locking your door. Wouldn't believe the amount of people that don't lock their doors. Story. In college I was stupid. No excuse for my actions as the risk was much greater than the reward. I could have ruined my life going to a top 10 US university. A friend and I would sneak into the freshman dorms at 4 to 5 AM in the morning, literally open unlocked doors and loot whatever was laying out in the main room. The way the dorm was set up was a main room would connect to 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. Electronics, Xbox, PS, laptops, bikes, TVs. We took a 50-inch TV from one room. Awkward as frick walking out of the dorm and a few blocks with that, textbooks, and basically anything we could grab. If you are a college student with a suite and a key, please lock your door as it is not worth the risk. Be safe everyone and don't let yourself be a target. I cannot even vaguely relate to people not locking their doors. Then again, I live in South Africa. Surround your house with outward-facing treadmills. Deleted covered a lot. He is probably legit. I don't steal anymore at all, but I used to a lot. Alarm signs are the biggest deterrent. I am going in through your front door. I am not going to check windows or creep into your backyard or any sketchy crap like that. The neighbors calling the cops is really the only danger. I dress nicely in a collared shirt and slacks. I am white and clean cut. Fairly good looking. A bit like a police officer. Your dog is useless. There is too much on the line to worry about Fido. I have never been attacked by a dog, but if I was, I look for houses with the least viewpoints from the neighbors. Having an open front porch is your best defense. Park in your garage. Parking in front of the garage is a telltale that there is likely no other car moving in and out of the garage and the driver is likely at work. I can tell because of the discoloration. Pick up your newspapers. Stop your mail and newspaper if you are leaving town. If I pop the door and an alarm goes off, I will probably leave. Make friends with your neighbors so they know who should be at your house. Going in and someone being home is terrifying. I don't want to hurt anybody and I certainly don't want to get shot. Also, the risk for getting caught just went from 3 years to 25. I will run screaming from the frailest old lady. Again, this isn't me anymore, but perhaps it gives you some insight. Stay safe. I see some guys in here saying to have a robust door. I have never been stopped by a door. It is very easy to kick a door and I would carry a flat bar. A solid core door with heavily reinforced framing might work. Spend big if you want this to be a viable defense. No, I wouldn't want to hurt your dog, but yes, I would have if it attacked me. If you have an 8-foot tall fire-breathing dog, then yes, it's probably a good deterrent. Make sure your dog's fire breathing is on point because none of us want your dog to get hurt. Yes, if you put a lot of effort into security, it will deter thieves. Walking up door to door pretending to be Jehovah's Witness is foolproof since nobody wants to talk to them. Don't own a house. Don't own anything worth stealing. Confederate flag. It says not only do you own many guns, but you really want an excuse to use it. This also says I have guns you can steal and sell on the black market. Leave your kid home alone. Kevin. Make it harder to get in your house than your neighbor's house. I worked in security, ADT, and here's what I found on how burglars would case. They'd walk your street like a Mormon or some other business person. Very professional, and hang door hangs or other things like info tracks, whatever. This would be the day they hit. They would walk a street, both sides, and do this. Then walk back through, having already been casing for a while. What they look for is a block of houses that still have the hangs on. That suggests that no one is home in that surrounding area, so no one can see. Then they 9-10 times go through the front door. A security sign will 90% of the time deter them. If you have a security sign, and your neighbor doesn't, guess who the burglar is going to try to break into? Don't let the security system company put your touchpad anywhere that can be seen from a window, either the regular windows, or the ones beside doors. If they can see it, and you left it off, they can see that too. Getting into a garage is extremely easy, and no one ever locks the door from the garage to the house. I have sold more security systems by demonstrating the ease of getting into a garage. Go to your garage door, and press firmly towards the top. Does it open enough to see up into it? Then they can break in. With the coat hanger they can grab the red string and up goes the door. So cut your garage string rope. You have a remote and don't need it. I can't think of anything else that wasn't said, but feel free to ask. Leave a large knife, ski mask, bottle of bleach, and gloves in visible sight of where someone might look in. Would you break in if you saw all that crap? Leave the front door open. It's no fun without a challenge. Accidentally did this at my duplex. Came home after a week of working far away. Front door was ajar. I creep inside. See my TV and laptops all still there. Realize I had forgotten to close the door when I left. Get an alarm system and use the sticker signed saying that you have one. I'm more likely to skip a house with an alarm system. Don't make it easy for me. Lock your doors. Close your windows, and most importantly, lock them. 95% of the houses I have been in I just walk through the door or climb through an open window. Don't leave tools laying around, that's going to make my job easier. Ladders, saws, drills, sledgehammers, putty knives, etc. All of these make it easier for me to get in your house. Contrary to popular belief, most dogs aren't a problem, unless they've been trained to be dog guards. It doesn't take much to make one friendly. Don't advertise. If you just bought an expensive piece of electronic equipment, jewelry, tools, etc., don't brag about it in public. Don't leave the trash in sight, and don't post about it on Facebook. Use security hedges under your windows. If your house has rose bushes and your neighbors don't, I'm more likely to try their house first. If it's irreplaceable, don't leave it out in the open. Get a safe for stuff like that, and make sure you bolt it down. I'll happily take a safe with me and open it later. Don't live in a nice neighborhood. When I'm looking to steal, I don't go to the poor neighborhoods. I go to the subdivisions and wealthier areas. Don't assume I'm going to wait until it's dark to rob a place. Between 9 AM and noon are the best times to hit. Most everyone is gone to work. Those who aren't are running errands or sleeping. That being said, invest in motion sensor lights. If someone is outside your house at night, this can help. Finally, be suspicious and alert. Is there someone new walking your neighborhood that doesn't live there? Is someone getting yard care pest control deliveries outside of what's normal for them? Does the same car keep cruising around at different times? You see, I'll study a neighborhood before I strike. Sometimes I'll spend upwards of a month. I'll note times people leave and arrive. I'll note when if cops patrol certain areas, and when. I'll pay attention to delivery times, mailman times, and various other service people to see when they arrive, what they do, how they're dressed, etc. I'll watch to see who leaves windows open, who forgets to lock their doors, and so on. It doesn't take much time to make a hit and get away either. On average I spend 8 minutes in a house, rarely more than that. Thanks man, and also frick you man. For your windows please use a fly screen and bar it up. It makes a lot of noise to break into. The fly screen is obvious. You don't want some pee-off burglar releasing bees into your house. The thieves will then pick the door. Double doors, bar metals and big butt doors are good. Get some good locks, but this is where the double door comes in because it takes longer to pick, as the door is the most likely avenue since windows are secure. You should secure it with cameras. I'm going to throw out the idea of having an automated warning when motion detected and viewing the security feed. This way, since the most likely entry point is your door, you'll have two that they'll have to break through, and in that time you can contact the police and sure they may get in, but they won't have much time. A dog is a good defense against backdoor entry, which is also a weak point in a lot of houses. Play something on a tablet or the radio. Noise is also good. It makes people think there's someone inside. Redirect calls from your home to your mobile. This is because people would check by calling the house multiple times and hanging up if there's someone picking up. Lastly, neighbors. Be friendly. Talk to them and know your neighborhood. Nothing is better than a physical body presence and people having each other's backs. Thieves aren't interested in robbing a home highly secured. It takes time and the risk associated is much higher than an insecure house. They will hunt around the block looking for targets. The idea is to prevent your home from looking like an easy target. Even if they choose it, make it seem like your house is occupied. If they continue, make it hard to get in and enough time for you to call the police. No home is ever safe. All homes can be broken into, but because people robbing houses aren't exactly big shots, they are usually just some low-life idiot who needs some quick cash. A dog is a good defense against backdoor entry, so that's why my GF keeps bringing these stray dogs home. I'm not a burglar, but leave the TV on high when you leave the house. Get a dog. Make sure you do the bare minimum like lock all doors and windows and get a basic security system. Basically just don't make yourself the low-hanging fruit. Also keep in mind that most robberies aren't completely random. Not a lot of people will go into a house not knowing if there's anyone inside or anything. Usually they'll either get a tip or scope out a place for a while. Easiest thing on earth you can do with zero effort? Go to eBay and buy a protected by Dyson security or whatever the frick security system sign that you can stick on your lawn. That will repel 90% of people, except maybe if someone you know is the one who robs you. Hello, I'm James Dyson and I have revolutionized the way you clean your home with my Dyson bagless vacuum cleaners. Now I will change the way you protect your home with my new Dyson home protection system. Watch a crap load of Discovery channels. It takes a thief. When a relative or friend of yours dies, make sure somebody is staying at the house during the funeral services. My grandmother's house was burglarized during my grandfather's funeral. The funeral had been announced in the paper. Most are, and the burglar knew this was a prime time. He finally got his, though. He kept doing it to other people during their funeral. A few weeks later, the police set up a sting, let the house's phone ring without picking it up, and sure enough the guy broke into the deceased's house. The police shot him and he died. A cop once told me that if you have to leave your house at any time, when you get in your car, roll down the windows as you're backing out and wave to your house as if you're waving to someone who's still home and waving back. Oftentimes, burglars wait in neighborhoods and watch for people leaving. If they see you waving and saying goodbye to your house, they may just believe someone is still home and it could deter them from trying to rob your place. A good way is to hire some former burglars to watch your house while you're away. We're all open to helping you out and finding any pitfalls your house might have. Just PM us your address and time you'll be away, and we'll sort out the rest. You have been spotted by the money pigeon. Comment gimme gimme and he will bless you with good fortune. Like and subscribe, you magnificent person.